Baby girl, you ready to go live?
Ready to go live.
All right, and 3, and 2, and hello, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Some people get mad I say happy hump day every week, but you know what? Happy hump day. Happy.
They're giving options.
Oh, we're very glary and bright. We'll just adjust this as we go. We'll switch over to A's camera. You're just going to deal with
a little bit of brightness is okay when you're this pale. You can't do like full sunlight because that's too much.
Both pale and as bright as I am. All you can do is just deal with the reflections.
Christy McCullough specifically is asking about YouTube live, and it is live, although we are having a report from somebody else watching on YouTube.
YouTube is in and out, don't know what's going on.
That YouTube is in and out, don't know what's going on. It doesn't seem like it's a problem on our end. It seems to be running fine from our end.
It might be that one of those various GIFs I put up is somehow triggering a copyright algorithm. So let me just keep talking for a minute, baby.
Okay. So I'll tell you, this is a little bit of an interesting session that we have.
Jiminy Christmas.
Because every week, we each have different jobs. I write the script, or one of us writes the script on Tuesday. It used to be me all the time. Now it's the both of us sometimes. Well, that's a lot brighter. And then I do all the photos and SIGLERations and junkie photos and pet photos and all that stuff. I upload them to where they need to be. And then Scott puts the episode together based on the script. I don't know what he's doing, but
just stick with it, girl.
Halloween was yesterday, you guys.
Okay, come on. don't need to hate on me.
Oh, no, I wasn't. I was adding that as a thing. Like, to now I'm a ghost. To now I'm a devil. Now I'm a zombie. I was doing that.
That's about as good as it's going to get because I didn't figure out how to do it. Okay. Now we're very pink. We're
good.
Very pink
That's okay. We'll be pink tonight. Anyway,
right, here we go.
I do the photos, but I'm supposed to number them so that he knows what order they go in the script, and I didn't do that this week. So it's going to be a hell of a thing.
It's a hell of a day at sea, sir. That's what it is. All right. So this show, it's spectacular. Here's what we got coming up for you. We have a crypt update. It is Deviled Egg Day. We're going to get to that in a minute. I'm very excited. We've got a couple of shots from our long-delayed wedding reception. Yes, a couple of shots from that.
I saw
the one shot I truly wanted was not in there. I'll see if we can get that in there for next time.
It's not the one that
the Last Supper. I want the Last Supper.
Okay,
photo.
yeah, we can do that. There's one I don't want to run.
And Junkie Pets, SIGLERations, Junkie Pics, and now after we have questions, we'll have questions too. Scott Sigler is armed with a +10 Vorpal Sword of Justice. And we're going to show you that. And no, it's not that Vorpal Sword, you dirty sons of bitches. Because I know both Danny and Robbie are going to make a sword fleshy joke. Something probably involving how pale everything is. And if I know those guys, that's also going to be a joke about the tininess of the size. But it's not that kind of sword, you guys. It's not that kind of sword.
Is my brother in the chat room. He's requesting a telephonic contact with the director of Doom, which is me, and I will call you tomorrow, my brother. I love you. I feel like you shouldn't have had to do that, but it's been a busy couple days.
It's been a minute. And all right, let's get on with the regular stuff. As you guys, as we always do, let's make sure, if you're not signed up for the newsletter, do that. ScottSigler.com/newsletter. It pops up like a certain +10 Vorpal Sword. Things just pop up.
This is why they do that.
I don't know. I got nothing to do with it. They're perverts. I have nothing to do with it. And of course, the text list is growing. We're starting to use a little bit more. Just text the word, SIG text, all one word, to 855-955-5095. Here's what I'm going to do for you. Once we launch the new website, which is getting closer to that, everybody on that list, everybody who's signed up for that, we're going to text you a 10% coupon that you're going to be able to go into the store and buy all of the new stuff. It's going to be fun, fantastic, fricasseed, and filleted is what it's going to be. That is that. And then also, babe, look what I made for you. We'll get to this later, but if anybody has any questions or comments about the show or want to send in some pictures,
oh yes, please. You guys have been so good recently sending in photos, and it's so helpful because then it's not just us talking about us in this tiny apartment. We're talking about all of us, and that's way more fun. And Halloween, I know some people have Halloween costumes. Send them in. We'll air them next week.
Yes.
I know some of you are planning big things for Thanksgiving, or you have special traditions for Thanksgiving. Send them in. I want to share them.
Rob, if you do have pictures of you in your sexy nurse costume, we would like to see those too.
Also, Rob said this. I almost lost my mind in the chat
Vorpal
room.
dagger tops.
It's so terrible.
But it's a long dagger. It's a dirk, is what it is. I don't know if dirks are longer.
I feel like we shouldn't talk dirks.
You know what? We're not going to talk about dirks. I wish I could figure out what I did with the color. This looks so bad.
It looks very pink.
Content item number 1, ladies and gentlemen. Oh shit! It's Deviled egg day, deviled egg day.
I made deviled eggs at Scott's request. The last time we had Sigler-in-Place, we weren't here last Wednesday because we were on a trip to Las Vegas. The last time that we were here, though, we my mom had specifically requested that we have tacos on Sigler-in-Place. So that'll happen next week. But today was actually deviled egg day. I don't know if you want to.
Yeah, go back to Maine. Look at this.
I do the other Maine,
these should always be in my hands.
So
look at that. Wait, look.
There's some salmon.
The carousel of doom. We've got all kinds. We got some
pickled onions.
Some
pickled sweet jalapenos. A little bit of black olives, I think. And the two in the middle are mac and cheese.
Oh, shit. I'm having one of those right now.
Deviled eggs.
Here we go.
So they have mac and cheese added into the deviled egg yellow mixture. And here we go. We'll see what those are like. That is a crazy recipe. Always be eating on camera, you guys.
Oh, we win Emmys, baby.
Get several. Get several.
There's one for you.
Yeah, thank you.
I already apologized to my wife for the potential gaseous expenditures. The King Kong Island research, we're going to look for gas.
So interesting, Beth Copenhaver on Facebook asked deviled eggs, paprika or not. And it's an interesting thing that you asked that. Can you try to make that yellow instead of pink?
I'll try.
While I'm
try.
talking.
Sorry, babe.
So it's a thing. So my first marriage, I was married to a Hungarian first generation American of Hungarian descent, and had a lot of paprika recipes because there's Hungarian paprika and smoked Hungarian paprika and all that stuff. In fact, today is his birthday, so happy birthday to you, Peter. Love you. And so I used to make them with paprika because I was told that this was the absolute only way to do that if you were going to a Midwestern thing, shindig, because we lived in St. Louis, and Hungarian descent. My first married name was Kovac, so I don't use it anymore though because I've been in San Diego since 1995. And in 1995 in San Diego, one of my first neighbors was a Mexican woman who was married to a Persian man who lived in the United States, come in the United States. Regardless, she was from Tijuana. I learned to cook a lot of stuff. This is the noir version. Soon we'll have the She-Hulk version. It's going to be great.
What the hell is going on with this crazy shit?
I don't either, but I'm just going to keep talking. So
keep talking,
now,
baby.
And this will sound crazy, but you should try it, especially if you're a no paprika kind of a gal. I use tahini on top instead because paprika is mostly for the color. Sometimes if you use smoked paprika, it's nice because of oh, you were close there.
Is that a little better?
Go back a little bit less pink.
Yeah, that's the contrast
There
apparently.
you go. That's better.
Pink.
It's a little bright, but it's better.
We'll go with that.
Okay, we'll just go with this. It's a whole big thing. So I use tahini on the top just to do the little bit of the red color because it gives a little bit of a better bite, and it goes a little bit with some of the other toppings like capers or pickled onions or we have sweet jalapenos. We used to, but when we still ate mammals, I did candied maple candied bourbon bacon
look at this
chips.
Look at this motherfucker right here.
And this one is it's parsley, the tahini, and then some pickled red onions. So I switched a while back, but I love paprika. And I would do paprika also on a deviled egg for sure. I just like the tahini a little bit better for the bite. Not tahini, tahine. It's Tajin. It's a little shaker. So you see it on the rims of like micheladas or margaritas sometimes often. Instead of Old Bay on the rim of a Bloody Mary. Tajin. I'll find it and put a link in.
Here we go. Tajin.
Yeah.
Which rhymes with vagine, but that's completely beside the point. The two things have nothing to do with each other.
100%.
100%. All right. I will continue to munch on these deviled eggs. But first of all, coming up in a couple days, it is the Junkie Party hosted by Steve the Iceberg Rickyberg, who is going to hang out with all of you guys for an enormous amount of time. Look at the time, 4 to 7. This dude, thank you. This dude puts in the time, 4 to 7. You guys can show up, bring a beverage, don't bring a beverage, alcoholic, non-alcoholic. It's just junkies jibber-jabbering with each other about the stuff that hath goneth on in the past few weeks. So if you don't get enough of everything here, then you can get some there. Okay. All
So
right.
I will be this. So normally Scott has music rehearsal and or band practice on Saturday. So he probably won't be at the junkie party. That's a sweet pickled jalapeno from Trader Joe's. They're delicious. They're not too hot. I can't eat too many too hot things, and those are delicious. So you should try them if you have a Trader Joe's by you. This Saturday night, though, I'll be there for a while on and off. I think last year in the November happy hour, I put up my Christmas tree while you guys watched, and I barely need an excuse. So I might join you while I do that, and he's at band practice, and put up the Christmas tree.
Holy cats.
Who knows?
We got to have a little lesson on how to trim off all the
I was just trying to be
link.
quick. It's fine. Everybody was asking about the tahine link.
But I got to make sure the YouTubers and the
Oh, yeah,
TikTokers
great.
do it.
Yeah,
That
I
did not
didn't. I
work?
didn't do from just
not
before
copy
the
that?
from the.
This is, because I've been using a Windows machine, I'm hitting the wrong keyboard thing. There we go.
There you go. That's a better one.
That's for everybody. Everybody. Okay.
Hey, everybody. So I will probably be I will definitely be at happy hour on Saturday night, at least a while. I might be there. If he's at band practice, I might be there setting up my Christmas tree again.
Once again, a heads up that
David Lamb, I never used to do that. I know you were.
That's all right.
But
That's
I
all right.
never used to put up a Christmas tree before Thanksgiving. But now, that's the only decoration. I'm not a decoration for every holiday kind of a gal. So now I'm like, I hardly leave the effing house. Who cares if I put up my Christmas tree on November 1st?
And her family, her mother, just leaves 3 Christmas trees up 24/7. So I think you've done a great job.
And at
baby.
Christmas time,
Great
there
job.
are 6 in her house.
Good
But
moderation.
my mama has 3 Christmas trees up in her house at this very moment that have been there all year.
Okay, Chris Girl's got to duck out. That's the way it goes. By the way, a reminder that soon we're going to start doing something on Cast app. You can go to castapp.co. It's free as far as we know. And we're going to do what you can do with this is group watch parties for YouTube, movies, TV, etc. Meaning we can put on a show or a YouTube video and people can watch along with us. I know, I have written here, I know another site, but if you're a techie, check it out. And if you're a techie who's active in the Sigler Junkies on Facebook, check it out and then tell everybody your experience. If it doesn't work and you don't like it, say that. If you think it's fun, say that too.
Hey, Shannon.
May be doing this show primarily on Cast and then sourcing it out to YouTube, Twitch. So right now, if you're on Twitch, if you're on YouTube, Facebook, you'll still be able to watch it at those places. But the primary show might be on Cast. We still have to figure that out.
And one of the reasons for this is Cast is an app that is or a site, to be fair,
What's up,
that
Tony
is
Whitaker?
kind of fomenting
Shannon.
in this time in the world where we want to be interactive like we're doing with you, but we're not technically interactive with you unless we're just talking in the chat room, right? So this is this is the one. So this has horseradish in it, Sean Dyer. This with the Kalamata olive on top also has a little bit of horseradish in the mix. Also good, yeah. Have you had any of the salmon ones yet?
Not yet.
Okay, yeah, those I think have a little
Probably
bit of
because
Dijon mustard.
I didn't realize that was salmon. So I'll do
It's
that
salmon,
one next.
yeah, and capers in the mix, but then
What's up, Sherry?
I ran out of capers, so it's only
So
in and
you
not
finish
on.
up with your Cast comment. I interrupted.
So the point about Cast is it is a watch party site too. It's a way we can all get together and interact together. And we get a lot of questions, often get questions that now we either answer individually or there's like John Vizcarra makes a Sigler reading order list or a research books list or the songs that Scott listened to while he was writing list. And what he could actually do is just go to his Cast channel when he's watching all these YouTube videos on space or spaceships or real ships on this planet or whatever and list them in his research file. And if you're, not busy on a Tuesday and he's writing the crypt and you want to see what he's been researching and what he's been watching, you can go there and watch it and with or without him. And I think that would be kind of a fun thing. So we're examining it. They're great people so far. We really enjoy working with them. So we're hoping to kind of get a little bit more involved with that because it'll make us more involved with you guys.
We're trying to do something with them in other areas as well. But eventually we'll talk about that if anything comes of it. Let's see, Mary Garrett.
Good for you.
Got that shingle shot. Way to go. Got boosted.
Boosted
Strong.
today and a shingle shot. I got those on the same day too. I actually got my second
Howard.
shingle shot on the same day I got a COVID booster. Couple notes. One, you have to go back with at least 2 months from now and not more than 6 months for your second one. If they didn't tell you that, make sure you do that or else you have to start over and it sucks. Second note, second shingles vax is going to stink. everyone I know, the second one has stung. It's still worth it. I have 2 friends who have had shingles, and they both say they would rather suffer the side effects of the second shingles vaccine, which like wiped me out for a whole day, once a month, every month for the rest of their lives, than ever get shingles again. Yep. And I've never had shingles, so I'm going to take their word for it. So if you're over 50 years old, at least in the United States, if you're over 50 years old, consider getting your shingle shots before you ever get shingles.
Now we've got time for an update on the CRYPT, Shakedown Book 1 of the CRYPT. It's a 5-book series. I swore I would never write another series that was more than 3 books, but I did it right out of the gate, right after I swore that, because I'm stupid. You know why? Because I'm stupid. Let's see. We have an update on Shakedown, the next new thing you will get from these 2 noggins. 100% done with the editor's edits, the inline edits, all the corrections, everything, done with that. 100% done with the military advisor's notes, including that of Chris Grawl, who just bumped out for a minute, and J.P. Harvey and Joe Root. And 100% done with Big John Vizcarra's notes. That took 3 days. John is very meticulous, and we appreciate his work immensely. The medical review by Dr. Joseph Albitz is tomorrow. That should really only take an hour or 2. We'll have to see how it goes. I only saw a handful of notes. Things like, that's not how a decapitated head looks, or that's not how blood in space looks. Things like this. You need to be accurate on these things. Then my own notes, which there's a lot of them, and the editor's final comments. So not her corrections, but her comments. I only got through about half of her comments. The rest of them I just kicked down the road. For example, if I don't even know if those paragraphs are going to be there, so I'm not going to put effort into fixing something she pointed out.
Which is such a smart way to do that.
Works out.
Because you've done the other thing, and that frustrates you even more.
Yeah, when you put like you put in 4, 5, 6 hours on fixing something that you wind up cutting later, that's very upsetting. That's
sir.
right. Yeah.
The bad astronomers in that.
Oh my God, Phil Plate. Phil Plate is in the house. Ladies and gentlemen, say hello to
Dr. Phil Plate.
What about the science notes? The science notes are done. Dr. Phil Plate, Dr. Nicole Gallucci have been very helpful, and a couple of Nicole Gallucci's pals took a look at it too. It's stuff, to be frank with you guys, I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about.
You just trust and love the people you ask.
I'm not going to lie. I'm like, hey, this would be really cool. How about this? And then people kind of like, corral it, bracket it, dial it in a little bit. But you know what? It's still pretty fucking cool. And let's see, we are 145,277 words, which somehow is up from 500 words from last week's. The last 2 weeks, SIGLERinPLACE. That's 468 pages in MS Word and about 480 pages in paperback. I have cut 5,000 words total from the version I submitted to the publisher. So that's kind of a record for me. Usually when I go for that final draft, it bumps up a couple thousand words. So I'm pretty excited. I was able to trim it down a little bit. I missed my goal of being completely finished yesterday, 2 days ago, October 31st, which means hopefully I'll be done, sent up to the publisher on Monday, November 6th. Then comes the final line in it. Then comes galleys. Then comes audiobook recording. Then you guys will get it. I can't say when you'll get it, but it is on the way. It is absolutely on the way.
So while Scott is eating more deviled eggs, I will say there's a handful of you. I just am going to put this into the, so this is salmon, and there's capers in there, a few capers in there. I am putting into the Facebook chat, and I'm about to ask Scott to make sure it gets into the Restream chat, so all channels get it. Phil Plate is a good friend of ours, and a very long, old, good friend of mine. I mean, we've known each other a long time. He's not terribly old.
He's old.
What I'm saying is, you guys may not know this about Phil Plate, but Phil Plate is named the Bad Astronomer because ages and ages ago, he started a blog where he's an astronomer, and he talks about what bad astronomy in movies, like bad astronomy in different movies that you have seen. And you can go back to his bad astronomy blogs forever. He's just recently moved. So I'm going to give you his Substack address so that you can sign up for his newsletter because things have recently changed. But if you want a take on real life science by a person who you absolutely will be able to understand, even though you understand he's also a PhD astronomer, you should sign up for that newsletter. You'll really enjoy it. If you like Scott's books, you'll love Phil's stuff. And it's really accessible. He's such a super friendly, lovely guy. And he talks, he also showed us pictures of his dog, and he shows us pictures of his wife's baking and things like that.
Lots of good stuff. I also just learned just now that Nico Devious over on Twitch is the person who wrote Bad by Michael Jackson. That is congratulations, fantastic.
Hello.
That is fantastic. I mean, I thought I had written it, but I did not. But apparently Nico Devious wrote. All right, going back to now. Time for some semi-depressing stuff, but not that depressing, but stuff you need to pay attention to. I'm rattling all this paper.
In space.
Stuff in space, exactly. Go back to books. Let's close this. There is another pesky little infection going around, you guys. Here we go. And books, boom. It's called RSV. And there's not a lot that you can necessarily do about it at this point, although a vaccine is going to be around next year, is what I understand. But it is persnickety, and my mom got it, and you guys should be aware that it's out there. Just so you know, this is a thing, and it apparently is really, really not fun for children.
So
really
here's
not
the
fun
thing.
for children.
He just said something that's very interesting about us talking about RSV. Respiratory syncytial virus is what those things stand for. And this is a virus just like a neurovirus, rotavirus, coronavirus, which now we're all familiar with coronavirus, but the common cold is a coronavirus. It's been around your entire life. It just hasn't been this good at infecting us for quite a while. So RSV is one of the viruses that have been around for a really long time. What I'll tell you is this. Scott just said an interesting thing. His mom got it, and she's been fighting it for about 7 weeks, and she's doing a lot better than she was. But for the first 4 weeks, it was pretty dang rough. And what's interesting about that is most of the time, for all of our lifetimes until kind of the last few years, RSV was almost only a problem for children about 2.5 years old or younger, or quite immunocompromised or infirm elderly people, just like the flu, just like a lot of big viruses that can hit a population. But for a combination of reasons, our immune systems have changed because we have changed the way that we handle things. We also stayed inside, and so the mutations were a little didn't propagate in human beings, and so only the strong mutations survived. That's how that works, right? The strongs, that's why you're supposed to always take all courses of your antibiotics. So that it's happening in people who are not less than 2 and not infirm is a thing for you to watch for. And there's, you'll get treated. We have a friend, Tabs, whose son was in the hospital for almost a week dealing with this. He's a toddler, so that makes sense. But there's 3 things you need to look out for this fall. Coronavirus has 2, the SARS-CoV-2 has 2 subvariants, XBB and I think it's BX or BQ11.
BQ.1.1.
And those are the BQ.1.1 jumps immunity. XBB jumps immunity. Those, if you are vaccinated, tend to not hospitalize you and you don't get a terrible infection, but it might jump your immunity. We have a friend who's currently dealing with that after a weekend trip. And then RSV, the third one, we haven't had to deal with for a really long time. But if you're out and about, especially in a very crowded place, consider when you're moving through crowds wearing a mask to protect yourself from that, because there's no other way to protect yourself from that.
It sucks. The masks suck. Everybody hates the masks, but it is a thing. And also, we just had a comment from Matthias over on YouTube who recommended this Week in Virology podcast. And I have not heard this, but I will post the link in the chat room.
Yep. And there's also a great, if you're a newsletter person, I'll post one.
Okay. And I'll go back to main then. Go back to main, go back to chat. Is that why she's looking fat? I'll get back to all the business. Bedtime for the empty set pup dates. What? Let's go to it, ladies and gentlemen. My favorite part of the show. Look at that. Look at them missing teeths.
Oh, my goodness. This is a recent photo. That's a more recent photo of Reese.
My dog looks like a crackhead.
She had to have a little tooth removed from the front of her mouth. She was having her teeth cleaned about half a year ago or so, a little bit more. And the vet was like, I do see a little gray. I'm going to go check it. And I was like, yeah, that's fine. If she's under, you should do everything. And she went to touch it and it came out. And we think it's from fighty biting and too much tug of war.
Too much tug of war. It's my fault.
I think it's the dog's fault. But
it's God's fault. God made the dog with bad teeth. No,
nope. Yeah, my teeth too are bad. That's also God's fault. It's actually I know our goddamn dog sitter Amy Reed is in the chat room on Facebook right now, and she has the same problem with her she has 2 pups. We have 2 pups. 3 of those 4 pups. Only Squeaky doesn't have a missing front tooth, and I think it's from fighty biting. But I also think it makes them quite a lot cuter. I'm also putting in, Matthias shared the podcast This Week in Virology. I also just shared in the Facebook podcast, your local epidemiologist, Caitlin, I can't remember her last name.
That's all right. That's all right.
But that's been very helpful for me. And that's a newsletter that comes. You just sign up. It's free. There's no asks for other money. You can subscribe if you want to, but you can just sign up.
And
just
I'll
like
put
Phil's
that in
newsletter.
for the Twitchers and the YouTubers. But now let's go back to Pup Date because there is another picture we must show you. That's the big pup pic. This dog has had it with Kiss. She does not like Kiss one bit. If I play Kiss music, she gets very angry. And here she is. Is that Peter Criss she's killing
That
right
is
there?
Peter Criss. You found it. Yeah. It's funny. We just went away this weekend and we got these, Squeaky got these from her Auntie Allison, I think, or maybe her Auntie Amy for Christmas last year. And they were 4 little squeaky balls that were covered in like Kiss makeup faces. And she took Peter Criss, which is she's doing right here, and she tore the entire white part, that entire face part, all the stars, all the whatever off. Oh, that might be Paul Stanley, actually.
I can't tell. Now, this is
Yeah,
Paul
but
Stanley with the star in the eye? Yeah.
Yeah, but the first thing she did
not
was,
like fucking
was
Peter
take
Criss, not
Peter
one bit.
Criss's whole face off. And
Ripped
the
it.
other 3 are still mostly intact. Almost a year later, they're mostly intact. But she was like, you know what, Peter Criss? I will not have cat makeup. How dare you not choose dog makeup? You're done. You're out. You're out of the band.
And we got asked what breed she is. She's a Chippin. I believe that
She's
she
a Chippin.
is a Chippin.
She is mostly Chihuahua and Min Pin. She's
That is
got a little
Paul.
bit of
David
Dachshund.
Lamb confirms that is Paul Stanley, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, that's Paul Stanley there, yeah.
All right, now moving on to other people's pets. Get rid of
Okay,
the
so I'm
pup
gonna have to
date,
do it this way
Pup
for-
show. Dang it. 1 sec. Big pup pick pup show. All right, who do we got here, baby?
Okay, so this, I'm almost sure this is Kurt Bloss's photo, sorry. And he says, this is Topanga. And she is waiting for me to come home from work. She will look out the window all day waiting for me so she can go on her walk. It's either that or she sees a herd of ancestors walking down her street.
Correct.
And she wants to herd up into that pen.
Here we go. Correct. And then we've got...
Okay, so these
This
I
dog
know.
looks super serious.
These are, you've seen this dog as a puppy. There's another one too that we're going to
I
see
would like
in a
to
moment.
point out the dog on the left. That is the Jacob's Ladder breed of dog. If those
Yeah,
of you
you'll
seen
meet.
that
That's
movie.
the other one. You're going to
Okay.
meet them. These are Brian Spike DeBonis's dogs. You saw them. They're wolf husky puppies, and you saw them when they were teeny tiny in a little basket. And here they are. Earlier, they're now 8 months old. They got them, I think, in January, February, when they were not quite 3 months old. And he says they're definitely characters. Lilu. He says Lilu is the plant and Scout is the porn star. The one that you see there is Scout with the very serious look.
We do not do dog porn on this show. It's not done. Next one.
And this is not Scout. I love this. This is Neil Deschnau's dog. I think that this is,
Boop.
let me see what, this is Wolf, his dog Wolf. He says, I was feeling sick the other day and I was laying on the couch trying to recuperate. I was just feeling downright miserable and I wanted something to cheer me up. So I called my dog Wolf. And as soon as I called his name, his head popped out from the ottoman. And this is what I saw. And that goofy face definitely helped me feel better.
All right.
It's very cute.
And do it just still work? Nope. I got to come back over here.
And Neil, even when you see this, the other photo of Rocky didn't come through. I'll email you too. So I want to see that one too.
I don't know what's going on here.
Hang on. This I think is Minnie. This is Minnie. This is Chris Vanderventer sent this in.
Cute.
And said that this is Minnie and I'm assuming she lives in North Dakota. What's happening? Did you just see a picture of your toothless dog?
I saw Rob. I said, we don't do dog porn on this show. And Rob says, not on this show. But I don't. Rob is busy writing jokes about dirks and daggers.
Yeah. We
So-
probably have another one, although... Yeah, this is Gracie the tripod. This is J.R. Murdoch. He's a fellow writer who lives here in California. And
So
this
it's a three-legged dog?
It's a three-legged dog. And I
Nice.
think we can't see the missing leg, not because it's missing, but because it's the one side of her that's not in this photo. It's her right back leg that's not in this photo.
I assumed.
But her destroying a dog.
Yes. And then we go back to here. Now
Yeah,
we go.
that's Topanga. So we already know Topanga.
Update back to Maine. Let's see how things are going in the chat. Now we're ready to talk about some junkies, right?
Yes, we are.
Okay, let's go.
I have a couple check-ins. Can I have one egg?
Oh my God, you should eat all you want because I'm going to eat all of these.
Okay.
And then moan later about why you made so many
This
goddamn
one I
deviled
can't
eggs.
eat. It's too hot for me. This
Can
one
we
I'll
eat the
take.
sweet one?
Yeah, I'll take that.
That
one.
you just need those. All right.
But also, your drink is good. Your drink is good.
Drink is great.
Okay,
Oh, there
so
we go.
you guys, we went to Las Vegas. As some of you know, we went to Las Vegas.
That's yours. Sorry. Continue.
The Couple in the middle of this photo was engaged before the pandemic happened. And they decided that they were going to get married on October 31st of 2020, Halloween 2020 in Las Vegas at like a Vegas wedding venue called the Royal Wedding Chapel. These are our good friends in the middle. That's Maria and Steven. The other couple who is not us is Rebecca and Chris. And then, of course, you know us. So Maria and Steven, we were both in the wedding. Scott was the best man. I was going to officiate. It was going to happen on Halloween 2020. None of that happened. But they had already paid the deposit and all the funds for that. So in 2021, the venue was like, cool, we'll just let you ride through it. And then they said, if you don't use it by the end of 2020, like the end of your window, like the end of October 2023, we kind of have to balance our books from 2019 and we have to finally close this. So either you come or you don't. So they decided they were going to have a small party, 5 times vaxxed people, really, was supposed to be a big 100-person party. This was going to be more like a 30-person party. And we did that. And then it ended up eventually where the party changed so much, and in that time, both other couples got engaged and married. That we talked with a couple and whatever, and we're like, why don't we all and Maria, why don't we all wear our wedding dresses, which became also all the boys wearing their wedding clothes. And we had this very tiny party where we all dressed up in our wedding gear again and got to hang out with friends, which all 3 of us didn't really get to do. Maria and Steven had a tiny, tiny wedding in Mountain View. And indeed, I did officiate at their wedding. You guys heard all about that. And Scott did stand up as the best man. And in fact, Rebecca, who is in this photo, was also the matron of honor there. So we have a few photos from this past reception weekend that we crashed Maria and Steven's reception.
This is cutting of the cake.
This is...
I literally do not remember this picture. You may notice there's a scotch in the picture next to the cake.
And that might be why.
Apparently, I was told I was quite serious about, I'm going to cut this goddamn cake and give everybody a piece of cake. Because there was cake to be, I don't know how cutting the cake works, for Christ's sake.
So and here's the thing. We didn't quite realize that a photographer would still be involved and there would still be a cake because there was no reception, or no ceremony. There was just reception. So we didn't realize that, so we kind of hammed it up. And I did check with Rebecca about this, and Rebecca's like, I have no idea what we were doing, but I will die on the hill that this is definitely art.
It's totally art. And then just everybody hanging out. I'm still relatively clothed at this point, which for me in Vegas is quite an accomplishment, I would like to say, to still have a shirt on at this point. But there's the crew. We had a good time. And now we're moving on to the junkies. And who do we got here?
Okay, so this is Milo Reed. Milo Reed turned 21 yesterday. You can see his new T-shirt, his birthday gift T-shirt. I actually probably would have worn this T-shirt on my 21st birthday. I was so excited to show everybody my driver's license when I turned 21 and went out with my friends in college. So he looks the same way. He looks pretty happy to be at his 21st birthday and also... 20, out on the town. But it sounds like he had a good time. This was sent in by his pops, Jason. So I'm figuring that it all went well.
Great. All right, here we go. And we have some playing to get her.
I was hoping, like I said, these are out of order because I screwed up. I was hoping to end with this. So I'm going to talk about...
come back to it.
Talk about Ian, and then I'm going to talk about a Siglerbration that Jenna Leah also has. This is Ian. This is Jenna Leah and Daryl Harris's son.
Hey, Michael.
This is his 34th birthday on October 26th. I think this is their favorite photo of him, not him on October 26th, because on October 26th, he was finally beating COVID. He got COVID late, and he got it, and he recovered on his 34th birthday. So she says, he's a big GFL fan, and we thought we'd share one of our very favorite photos with the junkies. Happy birthday, Ian. I hope it was wonderful, and I hope you're still doing well. Before we move on from photos, though, Jenna Leah also had a Siglerbration that she wanted to share with all of us, which doesn't have an accompanying photo, so I thought I'd say it here. She says, I work for a smallish quality software company as a technical project manager. We just closed our fiscal year. Last month, we closed on what was personally my largest sale, and we broke company records for income and revenue. I am so proud of the works our team are doing. And you know what she doesn't say, but is totally true? You should be absolutely proud of your biggest sale that changed the revenue, like made a record revenue and a record net profit for your business.
You know what she gets? She gets the Conan greeting. Good for you.
I didn't do this. I forgot that part.
You gotta go. That's right.
Congratulations to Ian for his birthday, and also congratulations to you, Jenna Leah.
All right, back to the El
Yeah,
Junkie.
you can just do another.
I think I can. Nope.
You got it. That's okay.
Figure out how to fix this. You have to be on it. There we go. And this is.
So this, I don't know where this is. This is two junkies, Sean Dyer and Robin Taylor, who are on vacation. They have, if you guys follow them on Facebook, you know that they have had an epic cross-country American vacation. And it's super fun. We're going to show another one where I don't know who this dude is, though, but it looks fantastic.
Next one. All right.
And they look. Wait, no.
oh.
Does anybody want to tell us, Sean or Robin? Tell us who this fairy is.
That's a Butterfly Man with a 6-pack. Everybody knows this. Excuse me, Butterfly Man with an 8-pack. Butterfly Man with a 6-pack.
That's at the
is in Topeka.
Mothman Museum in West Virginia.
Dude, how did the Mothman get so ripped? Did the Mothman get to go to the gym in COVID? I didn't get to go to the gym in COVID.
But I think
Fuck
he does
the Mothman.
nothing except scare people and hide. So maybe he hides at a gym.
Dude, I'm sorry. The Mothman Chronicles. All right, listen. You guys know
I think he hides at a
the
gym.
movie I will never watch again is The Babadook. You may make fun of me all you fucking want. I'm never watching that shit again. The Mothman Chronicles, also never watching again. Never watching that shit again for multiple reasons. Not as scary as The Babadook, but there was some stuff in The Mothman Chronicles. It's just like, I don't ever want to watch this again. So I'm not going to that museum. Fuck that museum. It's a dumb museum.
Okay, but you'll love the next one.
Does it involve the goddamn Mothman? Because I don't
No,
fucking
but
give a
it
shit
does
about him.
involve Robin and Sean, if it's the photo that comes up.
Oh, the birthplace of Captain James T.
Yes!
Kirk. Yes.
That
also
was an epic road trip,
Also
you
the
guys.
birthplace of
Oh,
Bumber Puff. Yes, that's right. Bumber Puff based on, what do we got? He has buns of steel. Yes, the Mothman has buns. We're not going back to the Mothman, Robin. You should have took your picture next to his buns of steel. All right? Not going back. Not going back. That's the way it works.
my God, that's great.
No, Scott Pond, I will not watch the Babadook again.
The Boobadook he might watch, though.
I'm not saying I peed myself, pooped myself. I'm not saying I didn't pee or poop myself. I am saying that there was something about when that chick tucked herself up under the blanket. I tapped the fuck out. I'm like, that's all the nightmares I had as like 5-6-year-old Scott. And I ain't playing. Not going back. Not going back. And then what do we have here?
Okay, so this, as you guys probably already know, this is long time OG original junkie Richard Bennett. He lives in California in American Canyon, and he just got his hair cut. And he calls it the Sigler.
Yes.
And what you can't quite see in this crop photo is he's wearing a Sigler t-shirt
That's great.
as well. But he's
Fabulous.
like, I don't know, I think I like it. I'm going to call it the Sigler. And until this, of course,
And
he
you know,
didn't have
if you
a
look in the
shaved head
background
down.
of this picture, he's got a cupboard open, excuse me, for some cleaners, some cleansers, some household items. He's clearly concocting a poison to murder someone who is not a fan of me. And I'm not
Serves
saying we
mans.
need to kill everyone who's not a fan of me, but what I am saying is if you spread the stank, you expose someone to my work, and then it turns out they don't like it and they leave a crappy review on Amazon or Audible, then you get your household cleansers and cleaners and accoutrements and you finish that shit off.
And a little bit earlier this evening, I mentioned that if you're sort of a newer Sigler fan, you may not know that we're longtime friends and fans of The Bad Astronomer. If you're new and you are part of one of the more recent websites, like the current one, or where we lost the forums on the old one, Richard Bennett has been around for a long time. He's an enormously beautiful guy. And if you are
Hair
not...
looks good too, dog.
Yeah,
Your
and
hair
if
looks
you're not
good,
part
son.
of Sigler Junkies yet on Facebook, you should join because there's a whole bunch of OGs. There's Nelson, who's one of the admins. You guys know Big John. There's a million people who are great, good, kind folks who probably hang out there more often than the rest of Facebook, and he's one of them, and you should get to know
Robin
him if you
Taylor
don't.
in the chat room telling us the picture of her touching the Mothman's butt is on her Facebook.
I'm putting it on
we
this
don't-
show next week.
Why we don't have that picture, I don't know. There was a phase in my life where every statue I saw, I took a picture of the statue's butt. And I had a collection of many iron, bronze, plaster, stone, butts of many, many materials and minerals. And I'm quite proud of that collection. So, yeah, you should always take a
I'm
picture
going
of
to
the
find
butt.
that photo of the butt, and I'm going to share next week a photo of him at...
Who do we got here?
So this is from Hodari Davenport, and earlier this year we showed you that last year's fantasy football for his fantasy football crew was all GFL based. We got I got a mouse pad, he got a T-shirt, we got notebooks, we got all these cool stuff. So they choose a different theme, a fiction theme every year, and he says. Even though this year's fantasy football is Game of Thrones themed, there's still a little bit of Sigler influence sprinkled in. Last week, we did a motto challenge where each team had to come up with a motto, much like Game of Thrones houses. As soon as I saw Alex's motto, I thought I should share it with the crew, which is us and you guys.
Take it if you can.
He got teased a bit, but mainly for it looking so like a screenshot from a Taliban hostage video.
But he's got the belt. He must have won the title.
But it won us over nonetheless because he's the winner. What you see here is the Stewie Trophy, the belt that he won. I don't know what the Stewie Trophy means. I'm sure I have it in my book, but I can't remember off the top of my head.
Yes. And the quote is, take it if you can, but if I find you unworthy, you should be killed and eaten. So there we go. And of course, people like the GFL understand being killed and eaten if you're unworthy is something that the Sklerno do. I think we have, that's the last picture. Yep. So now we go to main, and now we've got a Siglerbration.
Oh, this is the coolest. So remember, we went to Las Vegas to go to that wedding reception that we crashed in our wedding clothes. And while we were there, we got to have dinner with the Harveys, who you guys who are in the chat room now. And if you have ever been to a Balticon, a DragonCon, like you've met them if you've been to Sigler things.
Now, there have been several, what do you call that when the police say you shouldn't do a thing and a judge endorses it? Restraining order? There have been restraining orders on me for having any form of edged weaponry that is longer than a dirk. So I now am going to show you. I did. I'm now going to show you, ladies and gentlemen, we switch over to the main camera.
Hey, Bea Rose. Nice to see you here for the first time.
Hello. First time for Bea Rose?
First time.
Bea Rose, what's up? So now we have, I got a present from what once was the littlest junkie and is no longer the littlest junkie. Littlest junkie is now taller than I am, which is a reminder that I've been doing this shit for 17 years now. And I think we started doing this shit before the kid was born. I'm pretty sure, right? I think right before Paul was born. And now Paul, whose nickname used to be CB for the crack baby, because his entire family consumed the crack that is earth crack, that is Siglerism.
And his mama put headphones on her pregnant belly when she was pregnant while she was listening to audiobooks.
That's why the kid turned out so awesome, you guys.
They could listen together.
That's
because
why
she's amazing.
The kid turned out
and
so
in the
awesome.
Facebook chat room
so
right now.
So any of you who are preggers in a family way, get some headphones, put it right on that baby bump, and let him hear the dulcet tones of the FTO. But now he is a young man who's participating in XMA, which is like, sword forms and all kinds of stuff. So we went to see him in Vegas.
It's 15.
Now I have my own Vorpal Sword plus 10. I know Rob and Dan are going to type, don't let him have that. Go ahead, type it. I don't give a shit.
Can I help you?
I don't give two shits.
Show it?
Yeah, you can help me show it anytime you want, sister. Ready? Hold on, we got sound effects. You killed my brother. It is so long. Shh, shh. Oh, yes. Vorpal Sword plus 10. You see your reflection in the blade because when you do, you die. And these kanji characters right here literally means the destroyer of all worlds with his big bald head will also destroy some worlds. It's weird that this was already on, but
I'm
this
almost sure it says XMA.
No, it doesn't. No, don't be ridiculous. How can you be such a nerd you don't know this stuff?
Michael Gray says you'll put your eye out.
There is no edge to this because it's a practice weapon. Also, I would like to point out that all the scissors I've had my whole life are safety scissors. I'm not allowed to have scissors with a sharp edge or point. That goes back to my first year of Black River Elementary, where for no particular reason, stabbed a kid with a pair of scissors. Just went,
oh my
boop,
goodness.
Boop, right in the gut. Fortunately, they were safety scissors. Can you see this is a point right there? They ain't cut nothing. Ow! Oh, no, that's wrong. Okay, can we have that back? So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. I now have my own Vorpal Dirk plus 10, and this is what we've got right here. There you go. Thank you, Paul Harvey.
That on YouTube, Bertrand Russell just left you a terrific comment. I really hope your name is actually Bertrand Russell. I love your writing. You're my favorite science fiction / horror author to this day. It's very engrossing writing with identifiable characters that elicit sympathy, like Perry Dossie. Thank you. Well, thank you so much for this. Is such an I will tell you, living adjacent to a creative human being, this is a thing that never gets old. Like a genuine, I appreciate this. If it's thanks, man, I love your work, or if it's your detailed. Your detail odd, I ran into this stream, but I was just going to say I listened to a lot of your books on Audible and Apple around 2011. It started with Infection, Earthcore, and...
Oh, sorry.
Earthcore and all the way to the
GFL.
Galactic Football League. They mean a lot. So thank you for taking the time since you came across us. We do this every Wednesday.
Rock on, Bertrand.
If any of you are here just momentarily, we do this every Wednesday. Well, we mostly do it Wednesdays now that the world is a little more open than it was. We started doing it when the whole world locked down in 2020, in March of 2020. So
we got some new stuff. It's going to change dramatically. We're going to get in some live story reading. And if you're here on whatever day of the week we do this, you will be the first person in the world, among the first people in the world, to hear the new story fresh, right from the teat. That's our marketing phrase, actually. Podcast right from the teat.
Oh, gosh.
Also, I'd like to point out Eric Fisher says, he saw the sword, says, no more need for chicken scissors, huh? Yes, now if I need to slice off my own junk, I have a sword. I will have to sharpen that sword first. Let me tell you a quick
this
story.
is the perfect time for me to tell you that my mother's just joined the chat on Facebook.
What's up? So I'm gonna tell a small Sheboygan story. It's a story about the Opper brothers. Chad, and I can't remember his brother's name. Boys in Sheboygan, let me know. But Chad Opper, they got this sword does not have edges. Thanks, Tal. They got ninja stars because ninjas were all the rage in 1985. And I'm hanging out at the Opera House, not the Opera House, the Opera House. Hanging out at the Opera House, and we have these. So we start. Of course, what do you do when you're 13 and you have a ninja star? You throw it. You throw it at everything you can think of. And then this old wood shed, and we're just whizzing it, and it won't stick. And we're very angry because we've seen Ninja 2, Ninja Assassin 1, 2, and 3. We've watched all of the Ninja movies.
You're well versed in Ninja Assassin movies.
We've watched all of the Ninja Assassin movies. And we want to be able to throw this because we know we've watched Ninja movies, and a Ninja star is perfectly measured so that the only way it can kill is through the gateway of the human eye, which is utter bullshit. Those things, they cut many arteries, but in a movie, the only way you could kill was through the gateway of the human eye. So what do? Well, they're a very Michigan outdoorsy family, and Chad says, you know what? Dad's got a metal grinder in that shed. Straight into the shed. We're taking this prop ninja starting. We put edges on the whole thing, make very sharp points. We then proceed to walk back out into the yard and start whizzing the star at the house. And you know what, you guys? It worked. This sucker starts sticking a good 1/4 inch into this wood, and we're having the best time. The best time. We're throwing ninja stars. We start throwing ninja stars at trees. We're just throwing it all over the place.
With things that don't move.
Yeah, it's sticking
So
in
they
everything.
stick.
And I think we were just about to get to the part of the game where, like, do you think you could dodge a ninja star if someone threw it? Because I saw a movie last week where a ninja grabbed an arrow out of the air, snatched it out of the air, and broke it. And it was badass. It was savage. And then we threw it one more time at the shed, and it stuck. And that's about the time that Chad Opper's dad came out of the house. And Chad Opper's dad, I'm going to throw a ballpark, about 6'3", 230. And we're all like tiny little kids. He just looks at it, and he goes, what the fuck are you doing? And then Chad had to explain, well, we had a ninja star and we threw it and it wouldn't stick. So then we sharpened it, made it really sharp so it would stick in anything. And like, as he's explaining, we're all like, perhaps this wasn't a good idea. Maybe we should have thought this all the way through. And his dad plucks the ninja star out of the wall, walks back in the house, says, don't use my metal grinder again. And also, if you tell your mother I said fuck, I will use the star on you. And then he went inside. And we were done. We were done.
I have to tell you guys this. We have the time. We're already done with everything else in our script. So you all know that we went with Rob Otto, who's in the Facebook chat room. We went to Sheboygan back in August, and it was spectacular. The boys wrote a screenplay that is spectacular. It was a great, wonderful, I believe for both of them trip. It was magical for me. Scott, as you already know, talked so much about his growing up experience and his high school experience and his hometown experience in a way that I never do. I didn't have this ride or die lifelong experience. And so I was really excited to see it. And it panned out and it was wonderful. I will also tell you this. One of the things that Rob and Scott and I did on the last day that we were in Sheboygan is we went and saw two of their very good friends, his group of boys that he talks to every day, Sheboygan boys, two of their moms who still live local. Dr. Daniel Baker, PhD, who's in the chat room on Facebook, and also their friend Scott. We went to visit both of their moms one day. And when we were at Daniel Baker's house, Scott told me a story that I'm going to ask him to tell all of you because he's one of the smartest people I've ever met. And that's genuine. And
What's the story? Give me a prompt.
It's about the driveway.
Oh, my God.
Hang on.
Okay.
Hang on. So I will say, you guys know Scott's writing. Like, you know that and if you've met him, you know he's an intelligent, thoughtful guy.
Do not turn off this live stream. This is a story you will want to hear from two people who many would consider extremely smart, if not the smartest people on the planet.
And then and then I'll let you go. We call on this cast, we give Dan Baker 2 honorifics for his same honorific because he's that intelligent.
Dr. Dan Baker, PhD.
Right? Because he's that thoughtful and that intelligent. And it's not just about his PhD. He's thoughtful about chemistry. He's thoughtful about food. He's thoughtful about cocktails. Of course, you guys all know this.
Is he thoughtful about Dirks?
Probably.
Okay, all right.
And Scott, super... He told me a story.
Scott's not very thoughtful about anything.
But he's a smart dude, and he's smart about a lot of things. You've seen his fiction. You've also, if you've met him, you know he's thoughtful and patient, whatever.
Grawl,
Here's
you're
the
just
story
in time.
that both of these motherfuckers did. Sorry, I'll pay the $1 when they were young.
Okay, so we were young, as she said. I believe we're in grade school, probably fifth grade. What grade did you point up?
I think you were probably
fourth or fifth grade.
I think you were definitely in elementary school based on what his mom said, but I don't know.
So there's not a lot to do in Sheboygan, and we decide we're kicking around his house, and his house is kind of it's on M27 if I recall, like kind of a rural route. So there are houses right off the highway, but behind those houses, nothing but the woods where unspeakable things happen to strangers from the big city who wander into town. There's a lot of squeal like a pig going on, stuff like that. So we're sort of in the boonies, and we're very bored, and we go like, let's see what's in the garage. And there probably was a metal grinder in the garage, but we had no ninja stars, so we had to think of something. We find a big sheet of corrugated metal, and at this point, we're done with the ninja movies, bro. Ninja movies are so third grade. We're fifth graders now. Now we're watching World War II movies. And in World War II movies, like Iwo Jima movies and Bridge over the River Kwai and stuff like that, people dig in to the dirt and they make this, like Midway. They make these little places where you get the sandbags and everything. We didn't have any sandbags. We didn't want to do that. But it's like, what we could do? We could build a camouflage bunker. So we decide that we are going to make a camouflage bunker next to his driveway. So like two people who will eventually be smart, but at this point are very stupid, we start digging. We start digging. We dig a big hole. And then we go out, we find some 4x4s. We drop the 4x4s down. We secure them with some brick, be like a mini foundation. And then we put the corrugated tin over the top of that. And then we go and we get dirt. And we put dirt on top of the tin, on top of the corrugated tin. And then we go and we cut, what do you call that? Grass? When you buy the grass from people, you roll it out?
Sod.
We go make our own sod from the middle of his backyard, which later on we would find out was probably not appreciated by his parents. We go cut big squares of sod from his backyard, roll it up just like we saw people do on TV, put it on our shoulders, make ourselves filthy, covered with worms, come rolling in, roll that sod out, and then we go get it was detailed, motherfuckers. It was detailed. We go what this doesn't have any dandelions in it. There's dandelions around, so we go dig up dandelions. We put them in the sod. We step back after a solid Saturday afternoon's work, and we go stand on the driveway and we look at it, and you can't see this sumbitch at all. It's invisible. We are amazing. We are we're shaking hands. I don't know if we were at the high five phase of our life, but we're shaking hands. Congratulations, Dan. Congratulations, Scott. This is some amazing, fantastic work. Don't spoil it yet, but I'll get to it. The part I left out is we literally dug it into the side of the driveway. So we are now a good 3 feet into the driveway. It's a Michigan driveway. It's all dirt and gravel, and it's pretty wide. But Dan's stepdad, Tom, had a big truck because they owned a glass company. So they would fix windshields, fix windows and houses and things of that nature. So he pulls out his dually at one point, pulls it out, and we're not there. Thank God Dan and I weren't there. He backs out of the garage, goes to do a 2-point turnaround, and the back of the truck, all 4 wheels, crush into where we have been playing for about a week and a half at this point. And Tom sort of realizes what the hell happened. He puts it together pretty quick. He's like, those dumbass kids probably did something, gets out and looks and can't see in and doesn't know whether we're in there and crushed and dead. So...
Oh, no.
So at that point, I think we were over at my house.
No.
And we're a bike ride away. As you know, all your buddies in Michigan are bike ride away. So we come biking in. And at this point, the truck is out. Nothing's happened. We see, oh man, they crushed our hideaway. And then we had to go inside and have a sit down.
And Rosa, nay.
And grown-ass man Tom and Dan's mom are doing everything they can to have a calm conversation and explain why you should not dig a World War II bunker into the side of the driveway. And if you do, don't do it so well that it's invisible and we drop a truck on it and think we have killed you two boys. That's what you do for fun, Sheboygan. That's it.
And you know
There we
what?
go.
Tom and Mama Baker, they didn't think they had killed 2 boys. They thought they had killed probably 6 boys. They still talk to each other every day. It was, how many steakums have I made out of the children I love?
I would like to point out for the final time and emphasize, dude, this camouflage bunker was so good. Like you couldn't see it at all. That's why we almost died, because we're so good at what we do.
Michael Grace, who's also a Michigander, says prepper in the making, which I appreciate because that same thing happens to preppers often, where they're like, I am being super safe and super secret and super secure. And also I accidentally made napalm. I didn't know I was doing that. I was just trying to store safely gasoline.
I'm pretty sure 6th grade and up, Dr. Daniel Baker, PhD, wasn't that yet. He could have made some napalm. We'd have figured napalm out. If I was still in Michigan, I'd be a prepper. I'm not going to lie. Because it looks like so much fun. It's so much fun. You get to buy all the stuff. You get to build a concrete bunker.
You get to eat shitty dehydrated food for decades.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it's great. It's great. Michigan living is good living, ladies and gentlemen. All right, now I think
I do love that Ricky Burke says this.
What?
Honestly, it's a miracle you dumbasses didn't kill yourself as children. Right after Tony Whitaker says small town life in the Midwest in the 80s. You hit your bike in the morning. You just had to be home by dark.
Yep.
And the only difference for me is I just didn't necessarily leave on a bike, but I just had to be done by dark.
Rob says that's Genius 1, Genius 2. And the only reason Rob was in Genius 2, we didn't meet Rob till we were in
Technically speaking, when you guys met, there was a reshuffling of the order too. I'm pretty sure you never buried yourself in a driveway. So you might have been Genius 1.
It was probably the best bunker that's ever been dug. If the guys at Iwo Jima had dug it, they would all still be alive. That's a fact. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're time for questions. Oh, we've got questions. So if no one has any questions or objections, we will get to the point of the questions.
And we only have 1 or 2. We've got literally less than a minute. My brother just said in the Facebook chat room, one does not accidentally make napalm, which is a very good point. And if you're wondering if you can make homemade napalm, you shouldn't. Just do a sourdough starter.
I'm pretty sure
you get sourdough starter. You get all the angst and none of the explosions.
No. This is easy. It's a gallon of bleach. It's a gallon of chlorine pool cleaner.
Nope.
And it's a half gallon of Groot jelly.
We're not even making fake napalm. We're not. We don't need any of that.
We don't need that kind of bill. We don't need that lawyer bill. No, we don't. All right, I'm just a small town napalm designer. All right, let's get to the question.
I don't think we have questions. I have questions on my list, but we are
Chris
already at
Grawl,
7.
but was it accidental? Just do a couple. We'll do a couple because I put the graphic up. So
all right, fair.
I already showed it.
Let me open them.
All right. Some great comments in the chat. I'm going to call the chat room up because you guys are killing it.
Okay, so I have from Kim Hansen, who I'm not sure is here because she said she was traveling home and she might not have been home, but she asked, hang on, let me find the one I wanted to ask.
Yeah, it's. I'm sure somebody pointed out, who was it? Chris Grawl says he may have made napalm a couple of times. Vaughn says somebody accidentally made it once. All right, let's go.
So Kim Hansen asked, how long were you a part-time writer before you were a full-time writer?
Well, I've been pursuing this literally almost all my life from the 3rd grade on. This is what I know. This is what I have wanted to do. But there's still like a lot of little kids. I want to be a writer. A lot of people in high school in particular. I want to be a writer. I'm going to write books. It's going to be super fun. It's going to be awesome. But then you get to a point where you graduate college or you graduate high school, move into when you move into the work world, there's a moment where you're like, I sit down and like, okay, no one just randomly showed up at my house like Willy Wonka and said, I heard that you write the fiction. May I read some?
Do you have anything about tentacles?
This is spectacular. I would like more tentacles in this right here. And by the way, if anybody does say that to your children and says, I would like more tentacles, call the cops. So you get to that point where you're in your young adult life, 22, 23, and you say, no, this is it. I am making a decision right now. This is what I am going after. I am in it to win it. No matter, I will get this or I will die trying. I know I will try this for the rest of my life. That was at 23. I think I was 23. And then I'm trying to do the math. I believe that was
Tori.
13 years. I spent 13 years as a part-time writer.
And for you, that meant that you were writing you were writing like 4 hours a day, but you also had a job. You walked dogs.
Correct.
You hung out with your fam. You hung out with your wife. You
That is
did
correct.
the grocery. You did normal household things, but you also wrote at least 4 hours a day.
About 3 to 4 hours a day, around 20 hours a week. So it was its own part-time job. And then
it was a part-time job.
When the podcast started to happen, I'm still not signed. So there were 2.5 years of, I know this podcast thing's gonna be a big deal. I've got all these stories. So it wasn't just doing that and writing new stuff. It was putting the marketing degree to work and like, how do I show people all of this content I have, knowing that podcasts allow anyone in the world to hear it at any time. So that was about a 40-hour-a-week job for 2 or 3 years. And then, so I would say all told about 15 years as a part-time writer. And then I got the deal from Random House, and the Evil Queen and I sat down and talked about it. Do we want to salt this way or make it, live on this so that we can try and become bigger? And then I've been a full-time writer ever since. So since 2007, a full-time writer. It's awesome. Love it. Cheers to all you motherfuckers who helped me be a full-time writer. What's up? Next question.
Let me check. Do we have any in the chat room? Not
Probably.
tentacle porn. Not yet.
Mike
not
in the
yet.
Stakes, they set our kitchen on fire trying to do flaming shots. Is that napalm? Yes, that is napalm. Next time, a little grape jelly. It's totally fine. I'm not supposed to say that. All right. Next question. We'll do one more question. We're going to go,
Somebody asked a question. Danbury, Connecticut. Yeah.
We'll watch the chat room for one more question from the chat room.
Well,
Tony Whitaker bought his girlfriend's 9-year-old daughter an old electric typewriter. She's been writing on it every
that's
day
so cool.
since. Maybe someday she'll make something
Listen,
of it.
I'll tell you this, and then I'll pick one more question from my list of questions. I have a logistics job where I do a little logistics where sometimes every once in a while I am copied on an email from Tom Hanks. But every time I get copied on an email from Tom Hanks, it's exclusively about his Selectric typewriter addiction. He loves old typewriters. He loves old typewriters, and he knows how to repair them exquisitely and uniquely. And somebody wanted them to be on his podcast, and they tried to find the oldest typewriter they could find, and it didn't work, and it didn't have ribbons, and it was missing keys, but they bought it was a junk machine, and they bought it on eBay, and they sent it, and Tom Hanks, I'll find it and I'll show it next week. Tom Hanks sent a letter back saying, like, how dare you tempt me with this 1934 whatever. And he wrote the response on the typewriter after he'd fixed it because he's exactly the guy you think he is, right? And like he typed it after he'd fixed it and made it work. And he was like, how dare you try to tempt me with this cheap. Well, this was very smooth action. And I just needed a new ribbon and a little WD-40. Okay, fine. My people will reach out. We'll do this. And he actually did the podcast. It was a very sweet thing. So typewriters are a good thing, Tony.
All
it's
right,
a good
so
thing.
last two questions are in the chat room. Tony Whitaker asks, who is going to narrate the second CRYPT book? This is now actually the first CRYPT book. A lot of the stuff you heard before is being rolled into this.
Mm-hmm.
And at this point, it is none other than who, babe?
Ray Porter.
Ray Porter, who did Earthcore, who did Mount Fitzroy, a couple of short stories for us. We're super pumped. We got to talk to Ray a month ago.
Yeah,
and,
not even, like 2 weeks ago.
2
We
weeks
got
ago.
to sit with him and talk about it. And it's going to be great.
It's gonna be great, but I gotta make sure I get the book done in time for it to fit in the schedule. The second question, there's two more questions. Sean Dyer says, "Why are there no mascots in the GFL, bro? Just because you haven't seen them doesn't mean they aren't there. Actually, all the mascots for all the alien teams are goofy-looking humans. They're much like our mascots are right now." And then the final question, Spike asks, "When did A and I decide we were going to be together?" I have to say, I'm not good with the, what is it called? Time? I'm not good with time. But I think we were both split up when you had the belly surgery. Was that right? No?
Yeah. So, okay. So I'll tell this story. It's, I had a tumor cross-sect my abdominal cavity in 2016. It started earlier. I had a whole bunch of belly issues, and they went in laparoscopically and took it out in November of 2016. And we now live in a townhouse. At that point, Scott had been living in San Diego, was already divorced. I was newly separated, and I thought it would be fine. I would just, I would get the surgery, I'd come home, I'd relax in my house for a week, and then I'd go back to work. And mine is a townhouse. This is a townhouse. And I couldn't walk upstairs. I couldn't walk up the stairs. So I couldn't even get into my own home. I got, like, he drove me home and I couldn't walk up the garage stairs. And so he was like, you know what? I'm taking you to the office. You're well familiar with the office. The dogs are already there. I'm watching the dog, or maybe Amy was watching. I don't know. I'm taking you to the office. So we go back to the office, and I had a whole staff ready to help me, my friends and family and people who love me, for a week, but I couldn't get into my own home. But his place, the Lair of Doom, had an elevator, so I didn't have to climb any stairs or do anything. And that was 2016. And then my divorce became final on Thanksgiving of 2016. And then in 2017, we rebuilt and everything. And at some point, he said, I want to take you out to dinner in a non-work capacity. And so
I'm sure I said, "Oh yeah," but I did. Yes.
No, I mean, he didn't ask it that, but he was indicating that it was a different thing, but that it was probably late 2017, early 2018, the first time that happened.
Sounds good.
So we started to date in 2018, I think. I don't think it was a conscious decision. I think it was like a breaking down of. Honestly, I always think of it. If any of you have ever had a fish tank. The way that fish eat is you put the good food on the top of the water, and then they come up and they're like, let me try. And they go all the way back down to the bottom of the tank, and they're like, shit, dog.
He knows a lot about fish, you guys.
I had a fish tank in college. It was great.
Oh.
And then, but it was a slow burn thing. So by 2018 we were dating. Late 2018
slow burn for
we were
you,
dating.
dog. I was already hooked, man. I was in. I was in like Flynn.
And then we went on our first official date might have been a New Year's Eve party.
When two of your friends threatened my life. Yeah, it was a great party, guys. I don't mean to, we're going a little long, but I would like to point out that the first official date I had with A was going with A to Adam Savage's New Year's Eve party in San Francisco. Yes, I'm very fancy. I was there as her guest. She's fancier than I am. And Maria and Rebecca,
who you just saw in the
wedding photo. Those two bitches both separately pulled me aside at this party and threatened my life. They both come up and all of a sudden they're like, Tony Soprano, like, I just want to say, if you hurt her, I'm going to kill you. And I'm like, it's a lot of heat for a New Year's Eve party. Let's just back off a second, ladies. Let's back off.
Except at that same party, somebody had a little too many cocktails, a little too much champagne. I don't know who they were. They were invited. But Scott recognized somebody like protecting their bro. Like a little intoxicated and over responding to what he thought was an affront. I have no idea who that person was. I do know he was invited. I do know that he was supposed to be there. But Scott, his name was Tony. And Scott was like, Tony, I'm with you. And like diffused the situation because he knew Tony was getting sort of like drunkenly
Tony was about to
upset.
trash Adam Savage's place, about to trash that joint.
Trying to protect Adam Savage, like trying to be like, you don't deserve to be in this house, bro.
Yeah, he did. He threw that out.
All that stuff.
And my skinny ass had to like sidle in between them.
Like, hey, bro, I get you. What's the let's do this together.
All right.
And like the next day, my one boss, Adam was all, thank you so much, Scott. Who's like my partner in a business, right? He was like, I thank you.
Yeah.
Because that was way easier than anything else that would have happened. I was like,
It would have taken a little bit of work to get Tony out of that house. This is a big fella. All right, we're going to do one last thing, and then we're out of here. Somebody asked about GFL cheerleaders, and I can't give, this isn't a very good picture. I just did a quick search on it. We don't have cheerleaders. Ladies and gentlemen, we have players.
oh, I love
We've
this.
got players.
We're all in this photo. All the people I love are in this photo. Let's see. So Somali Midori, all the way on the left there. This is my
figure
dear
out how to make
friend.
this go better.
Emily Fink, who was at this celebration
Dang.
this last weekend in Las Vegas. She's dressed as Somalia Midori. She is an exquisite, extraordinary cosplayer, a quite famous, well-known cosplayer. She's lovely. Also, you see Hokor there in his yellow and white. This is the noisy astronomer, Nicole Gallucci. Scott is, of course,
There we go.
like Quentin
I'm
throwing up
in
in the
a
golden puke bucket.
Golden puke bucket.
You see Maria, who was the
threatened my
actual
life.
first anniversary bride
Who
this
threatened to
past
kill me,
weekend.
by the way,
She
threatened to kill
did.
me.
So yep. That she is dressed as John Tweedy. You can almost see at the top there. She's got a little scrolling thing on her forehead. Me in the orange headband. I am Jew Tweedy. And
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
I
And Liz?
think that Liz is Masal the efficient.
No, Liz is Denver.
Oh yes,
You
yeah,
see the
like,
scleroarms
yeah,
on
yeah,
her?
yeah. All the scleroarms. How could I forget? And she was like, yes. Oh, the whole night. Love.
These beasts all surprised. I had no idea this was coming. It's one of the coolest moments of my writing career.
And you can
It was
actually see
amazing.
Beth Copenhaver, who's in the chat room on Facebook, there
Yeah,
as
there's
a
Beth.
Kraken, right behind Somalia Midori. I believe the person who you can't see his head right behind Beth, that I think is Tim Legower, who is Nicole Gallucci's partner.
Okay.
And he is dressed as a Kraken that night in support as well. And I can't remember, but there's somebody right behind you too that I can't quite remember. This was such an epic night. Scott had
Fuck you, Tony.
zero idea. And it was wonderful. Wonderful.
It was
wonderful.
great. It was great. And also, I look pretty snazzy in my blue.
Yeah, you were
my
dressed up for
crushed
some
blue
other reason, but
tuxedo.
you were leaning in. Oh, because you had auctioned off a dinner with, or an evening, a drinks with you moment.
Yes, I did. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, which
Yes.
was great, and that happened
So,
that night too for charity.
We do have Beth Copenhaver is one of the GFL cheerleaders, Kraken's cheerleader,
course,
and
yes.
so there's two people who've cosplayed as cheerleaders.
Oh, Beth, are you? Please send in photos so I
Yeah.
can show them next week because I have them, but it would be easier because you can.
Yeah,
probably find them
Beth
easier.
points out that's probably Mark because the gentleman in the back. It's probably Mark because Mark is so tall, no camera will fit him in frame. He's a giant human being. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we went a little bit long tonight. Switch over to this camera over here. We're about to tell you all to kiss off into the sky, but let's finish up, sweetheart.
We do love you. So I know that last week we told you that today was going to be Taco Wednesday because my mama wanted to see us eat tacos on camera. My mom did show up tonight, but it was Deviled Egg Day.
Yep, it's Deviled Egg Day. So, go ahead.
Next, so I'll go
you're-
from
you're
here.
there.
Yep,
Yep.
I'm going to go from here. So, as you guys know, info at Empty Set, please help me. You have so many photos you're taking in the next 6 weeks.
You don't have
Send
to point
them
anymore.
to me. Oh,
It's on the screen, dog. I backed your play. Boop. All right.
send those to me because that is so much more fun. So do that. Content ideas, questions, anything you want to broadcast, anything. Send it to info@emptyset.com.
We will be back. We're off next week. We're
No,
doing
we're not off next week.
we're
That was
not?
a mistake. I'm sorry.
But aren't we going to be in LA on this day right here?
Oh, shit. We're driving up that day. Yeah,
Yeah,
we are.
We're
I'm
skipping a
sorry.
week. And however, I'm very sad we're skipping a week. We got to go to LA for a pitch thing. But next week's Wednesday is Chaos Never Dies Day. Very sad. Very sad. But we'll
we just
celebrate
gotta-
it 2 weeks from now.
Yeah. Yes, we are. So here's what's going to happen. We just got called back for a meeting we had the last time we missed you. And we're going to do that
Fancy.
on
So fancy.
Wednesday the 9th. And then we'll be back on the 16th. And my mom wants me to make tacos.
We'll
So
make tacos on the
on
16th.
November 16th. It's taco night, Mama Taco Night.
Yep. Let's not call it Mama's Taco Night. Let's just call it Taco Night.
Also
would be,
fair.
That'd be much better for me.
Sorry about.
That's quite all right.
Let's never mention that again.
Never mention it, not one more time. Until then, we want you to stay smart.
And we absolutely need you to stay silent.
And for the love of science, we tweeted up a bunch of links where you can go learn about virology and the things that are trying to kill you from the inside, like infected. And until then, You know what, you guys?
Rosa, thank you so much for joining. Come back and see us on the 16th.
And you can all kiss off into the sky. And